Hello, this is Jared. This is my Windows 8 is an adjustment video to get you comfortable with navigating quickly in Windows 8. Windows 8 has improvements beyond prior operating systems, but many people struggle with the fact that it looks just different, as they always have with releases of operating systems, even though this one is a larger step than any prior version. It is September 2013. This is Windows 8. I have the Windows 8.1 preview also loaded on another virtual machine, so we can look at that as well and the differences. And here we go. History journey back in time. Here's XP. Here's a start menu that we're familiar with. But when I was first deploying Windows XP to folks starting in 2002, they weren't entirely happy just because I was bringing change. I was taking from them Windows 98 Second Edition or Windows 2000. Skinnier start menu with less objects immediately visible. If you wanted to get to control panel or printers, you had to hit start, linger over settings, wait for this to appear over there, and there you go. So sometimes with change, bigger is better. You can see more objects. You hit start, control panel and printers immediately visible. Next, we'll stop at Windows 7 really quick to show you something unique to Vista and 7. There was a search feature that was added with Vista and 7. You just start typing in something you're looking for, like calc. If you knew Calculator was an application already on your computer, you could find it quicker that way than having to go to all programs. You get search results based on what you typed in, which was faster than going to all programs and then accessories only to find Calculator buried there. So the search feature is very empowering. Also in Windows 8 we're going to be covering where all programs move to, because many of us want to see what all the possibilities are, because you aren't just going to know exactly what to type in on search unless you see what all the possibilities are. So it's still important to see all programs. Alright, so here's Windows 8. Here's the start screen. If we're looking for that calculator, you could just type in calc. You don't see a search blank, but as soon as you start typing, there is a search blank and results come up. Results come up in categories. I'll also look for printer, let's say. Now, currently, your default category is apps, and printers has 17 hit results in settings, which is kind of like control panels. So I pick that. That's where we find devices and printers. Having to choose categories, even though you see the hit results, people didn't really like that as much in Windows 8. Microsoft reacted in the update Windows 8.1. Let's show you what they changed. Here's Windows 8.1. We now have a start button. That'll take you to the start screen. It's not a start menu. You're back to here. This is still powerful. We're going to find stuff. So I'll type in printer. It now searches everywhere by default, so you're seeing a mingling of all possible categories, and you don't have to worry about it not showing up and having to switch. It nailed it very well the first time, finding devices and printers, what I was looking for, managing my printers. Also below the line here are results from a web search using Microsoft's Bing search engine. So that's what they've changed there. Next, now that you know where search is, let's bounce on back to Windows 8. Where did they move all programs? If you right click on a tile, or if you right click in the middle space, you get this that comes up. All programs at the right. Now I'll click in the middle here with my left click, and I'll right click on a tile instead this time. You see options related to the tile, and then all apps at the right. This is an expanded view of all possibilities on Start All Programs, now called simply Apps. So you see all your objects A to Z, all your folders A to Z. The folders are these light names here, and then the objects within them. So it's an expanded view of everything that's possible. You can scroll it by coming down to the bottom here and using that. If you had a touch screen, you just swipe back and forth. If you want to use your rolly wheel, you can use your rolly wheel as well. Now that we've found everything that's possible, let's talk about how you might modify the start screen. Here's computer. many people find some of these default things that were on the start menu, things they want back on the start screen, like computer. You can right click that and choose pin to start. Now we'll hit start and it's on here, but any new item that gets pinned is always pinned on the right side. You can then left click and hold on this and drag it to a more prominent place if you like. And that comfort of going to start computer and getting to File Explorer, previously called Windows Explorer, where you would browse for files, that's available now. Not a problem. So we'll go back to the Windows 8 start screen. You right click anywhere and you can find all apps. But that's a lot of clicking, so let's show you what changed now in Windows 8.1. It's a little easier. So go to my desktop now and over to that Windows 8.1 virtual machine. If you go to start, they now have a new little arrow that appears here right quickly, and if you hit that, it just goes to all apps. Nice and quick. Much improved. Then you can hit the arrow and go back to the start screen with tiles experience if you like. So that's a little improvement. Let's go ahead and head back to Windows 8. So we have our start screen. You saw when you were first logging on that the four corners are hot. But what do they do when you go into the upper left versus the lower left versus the upper right and the lower right? Upper right and lower right both bring up the charm bar, but it comes up only in part and disappears quickly if you don't do anything maybe. And you go and you have to move up a little bit, then it becomes opaque. All of these are nice new features, but much of this lends itself to the touch experience where you can bring the charm bar up by sliding your finger from the right side of the screen. But I find that in the mouse and keyboard realm, if you don't have a touch screen, I don't use the charm bar as much. The long way to get to shutting your computer down is to go to the charm bar and then go to the gear settings and then to the power emblem and then choose restart or shut down or sleep or whatnot. A nice thing to know about is the logo key. I'll bring open the on-screen keyboard by typing ON. On-screen keyboard right here. The start key, which has the Microsoft logo on it, if you hold this down and press any number of different letters and stuff, you can do things. I'm going to show you one that's not so important now that the Windows 8.1 release comes out, but if you were to hold logo and tap X, you get something that comes up in the position of what would have been like kind of your start menu, and it gets you to some quick tasks like control panel. Might want to get there quick. So that's kind of one of the quickest ways you can get there. Now I said it's kind of pointless to know that quick key because I'll show you what they did in 8.1 for us. If you right click that start emblem, it won't bring up the start menu. It brings up the same thing as that logo X key, except added to the bottom is now shutdown, and then you can choose shutdown or restart. Much faster than having to go to the charm bar to shut down. So that's available for you in the desktop on 8.1. Also in 8.1, I'll go ahead and show you this real quick. You can right click on the taskbar and choose properties to bring up taskbar navigation properties control panel. New to 8.1 is this navigation tab there. You'll find this checkbox, go to desktop instead of start when I sign in. So when you log in, you're immediately your desktop. People wanted that. That's where that checkbox is. 3 below that is also show apps view automatically when I go to start. So instead of actually seeing the tile experience, you would be going to the all applications expanded view. I don't necessarily recommend doing that tweak. That's sort of similar to people going to classic start menu on Windows XP. And what's the point? So if that really makes it more comfortable for you, you can make that choice, but let's talk about tiles and having some fun there. Back to Windows 8 first. Windows 8, 2 sizes of tiles. Most of the tile apps launch modern user interface applications. Let's open some light ones like the weather. I click it, it opens full screen. Where's my red X to close it? Most people ask. Okay, you could hit start and open something else, but you're not really closing it. So the way you would close that in the touch experience would be to slide your finger from the top all the way to the bottom and it closes it. So too in the non-touch experience with mouse and keyboard, you just move your mouse up here, it becomes a little hand emblem, you click and hold and drag it to the bottom and you have closed the weather app. Now we'll talk about snapping. Snapping is something that came about in Windows 7 where you could split your screen 50-50 nice and easy. In the modern user interface in Windows 8, I'll open that weather app again, you can click at the top, bring it down a little bit, and then flow it to the left or right, snapping it there. In Windows 8, we don't have a 50-50. It's an 80% 20%. So you have a skinny slice and a wide slice. I'll click on this wide slice here and let's go ahead and load in the financial application. Now you can look at finances and the current weather at the same time. Only 2 in Windows 8. People wanted more. Let's go ahead and see what we can do in Windows 8.1. So we'll head over to the 8.1 virtual machine and I'll hit start and we'll open finances. We'll throw it to the right side. Your default split now 50-50. I'll click on the other one. Let's go ahead and load that weather in there. Now we got 2. You can actually have 3. And you don't even have to have a high resolution screen to support snapping. You had to at least be 720p. You can actually do snapping at 1024 by 768 small resolution. You might not be able to fit 3 apps, but you can at least do 50-50 splits nice and easy. So it's inviting more people into that feature set, definitely. Let's put a third thing up there. So I hit the start key and let's go ahead and put the music app up there. Let's say I want to listen to some tunes while I'm checking the weather and my finances. So it comes up here and it doesn't know where to put it. It's like, well, you pick the third thing. Where do you want it? You can click on this tile, it'll snap into there. You can click on this one, or if I click on this, since it's kind of wavering, and hold it and move it back and forth a little bit, it should split right in there. And it does. Now if I didn't want it in the middle, I could have obviously thrown it to the extreme right and it would have pushed in and been there as 3 tiles at once. I can click at the top here and drag it down a little bit and throw it over here instead. Oh, well, excuse me, all the way to the right, and then it moves them around. So you can quickly do that. Now in the touch experience, throwing these around is a little quicker. You take your finger from the top here and go fling, fling. So it's very agile in the touch experience, but you're going to find this also potentially useful in the non-touch desktop experience as well. It's still pretty cool. Another thing you can do that's different from Windows 8, 8.1, we can load in the desktop. Let's close this one out here, then I'll click that and go to the desktop. Now I've got a desktop panel here, but it's skinny, and I can make it extremely skinny. Well, that's as skinny as it gets. You can open applications, they still work on this smaller amount of canvas space. Different from before, where if you had the desktop in a small slice, it would show you a little thumbnail for each open application, and you couldn't really see what it was doing. You really have a tiny desktop now. You can make it bigger if you want, not a problem. Now you got as much desktop as you can handle with 2 extras. The music app is now complaining that it's been made too skinny. You can still play your music, but you just don't get the fancy album art. So there are minimums to what you can do, and it is very fluid on how you can control this reality of how many things you want on this particular style of screen. Snapping is nice. Many of us would put skinny applications like a chat application on the right or something in the days of old on our desktop, but you really don't have to worry about making it the exact right size if you just want something on the right. So this is kind of an improvement if you like it. Alright, let's talk about manipulating tiles now. In Windows 8.1 we have 4 sizes available. Only 2 sizes were available in the prior version. We got the teeny tiny ones, your original size, you got your wide size, and then you also have your 2x2 size. So if I right click the weather one, you can choose resize, and here's those 4 sizes as they're called. When you right click on a tile, you also have the option of turning the live tile off so the information does not refresh. You can unpin it from the start screen, but the application is still available to you. If you choose uninstall, that application is gone from your reality, but not gone from the computer. So the modern user interface has another aspect to it. Applications are not installed at the machine level, they're installed at the user level. Anything you have downloaded from the store, I'm not really connected to the store in 8.1, so I'll go back to my 8.0 store. Anything you've downloaded from the store, it remembers. So if I actually filter for all apps, it's going to show me all apps I might have downloaded, including Cut the Rope, a cute little game that my kids like to play. And there you go. If I've actually paid for purchased apps, and it's within the licensing of that to be installed on more than one computer, my entire toolkit of applications can follow me around the world because I sign into the store with my Microsoft ID. Very empowering. You're no longer locked into one particular place of comfort. Your comfort can follow you. And if your computer died, you're not as apt to feel such sadness that your only place of comfort is gone, because your comfort can travel with you in a modern user interface. Also in the modern user interface, the concept of the cloud. Microsoft currently giving us 7 gigabytes of SkyDrive storage space for photos, documents, movies. Movies are kind of big, that might burn it up pretty quick, but you have 7 gigabytes. If you want more cloud space, you could pay for that, whatever their increments are. But you have 7 gigabytes, your prime projects you're working on in the now, you could keep that in the cloud. If you have oodles and oodles of pictures, like most of us do in the digital camera age, 7 gigabytes isn't necessarily going to hold all of your photos. But you can keep your more recent ones there and then have backups of your other stuff elsewhere. Alrighty, so that's what the modern user interface can do for you. You can ignore the modern user interface and still be highly productive on your desktop and enjoy all of the other benefits of this operating system being a faster boot than prior ones and very agile in so many ways, and explore the modern user interface on your time schedule. So I hope that made you a lot more comfortable with Windows 8. You don't need to be scared of it and defer purchasing a computer when you're suffering with something that might need replacement. Alright, have a good day. Bye.